All right, today I'm going to rank all 5 classes in WoW Adventure, from weakest to strongest, based entirely on their skill damage rates. This isn't based on personal preference. I'm going to break down the numbers one by one so you can understand exactly why one class ranks lower while another ranks higher. Let's get started. At the bottom of the list, and the weakest in terms of pure damage, is Priest. That probably sounds obvious, right? Priest is designed to be a support class after all, but I still want to explain exactly why. When you look at Priest's skill set, you'll notice that almost every offensive ability has to share its function with healing. For example, Smite only has a 52% damage rate, but it also provides a 9% healing rate to the ally with the lowest HP. Then you have Healing Wave, where the beam bounces between enemies and allies, dealing damage while healing at the same time. This means a significant portion of Priest's overall skill value is allocated toward healing, so its pure damage output is naturally much lower compared to dedicated DPS classes. Priest's highest damage rate skills are Shadow Lash and Holy Nova, both reaching 288%, but these skills also have a 13-second cooldown, meaning you have to wait quite a while before you can cast them again. Then we have the two 21-second ultimate skills, Kingdom Come and Void Legacy, which are heavily focused on team-wide buffs and healing. Their actual damage output is relatively insignificant compared to what other classes can deliver with skills on a similar cooldown. So in short, if you build Priest with the goal of solo boss farming or carrying the team's damage, you're probably going to feel a little underwhelming. But don't get me wrong, Priest is far from useless. In team content, a well-played Priest can be the backbone that keeps the entire team alive. It's just that when we're judging these classes purely based on damage output, Priest takes the bottom spot. Coming in at 4th place, just slightly above Priest, is Archer. This class is pretty unique because its playstyle doesn't rely entirely on skills like the other classes. Instead, it depends heavily on basic attacks. That's why when you look purely at the skill damage rates, Archer can seem a little underwhelming. The most obvious example is the 21-second Hunt skill. It doesn't deal any direct damage at all, so its damage rate is basically 0%. Its entire purpose is to increase attack speed by 80% for 10 seconds. That might sound like a disadvantage, but it's actually a double-edged sword. If you know how to take advantage of that massive attack speed boost, and maximize your basic attacks during the buff window, your overall damage can explode and compete with what you'd normally expect from a damage-focused ultimate. The only difference is that this damage doesn't show up directly in the skill's own damage rate. Archer's biggest strength is its excellent AoE potential. Take Arrow Rain, for example. It fires a barrage of arrows for a total of 451% damage, spread across 11 hits over 3 seconds. That's extremely effective when you're clearing groups of enemies. Trap laying is also quite impressive, dealing 288% damage when enemies trigger the trap. Overall, Archer is a class that requires good execution. You need to know how to stack attack speed and make the most of Hunt's buff duration to unlock its full potential. If you simply spam skills without taking advantage of its basic attack mechanics, you won't really see how strong Archer can actually be. Coming in at 3rd place is Mage, and this is a class I rate very highly when it comes to consistent AoE damage. Mage's skill set provides an incredible amount of reliable area damage over time. Just look at Arcane Barrage. It fires a total of 40 missiles, with each missile dealing 15% damage, giving you a total of 600% damage. That's one of the highest total damage values among all the skills on this list. And it doesn't stop there. Blizzard deals a total of 319% damage across 11 hits, while Ball Lightning reaches 290% damage through 10 consecutive electrocute hits. Overall, Mage's playstyle revolves around continuously spreading damage across a wide area over time, making it extremely effective for clearing maps or farming large groups of enemies. However, Mage does have one major weakness. Its 21-second Transcendence skill doesn't deal any direct damage at all. Instead, it simply reduces the cooldown of your basic skills by half while the effect is active. This means Mage is missing that instant burst of damage at the ultimate cooldown mark, unlike some of the other classes that have a powerful damage-dealing ultimate available every 21 seconds. And because Mage lacks that immediate burst window, even though its total damage output spread across multiple skills is extremely high, it still falls short of the two classes above it in today's ranking. Coming in at second place is Warrior, and this might be the biggest surprise in the entire ranking. A lot of players think Warrior is just a tank class that's meant to stand there and absorb damage. But in reality, the damage coefficients on Warrior's skill set are extremely impressive and consistent across different cooldowns. Both of Warrior's 21-second skills, Ancient Bloodline and Avatar, share the same basic mechanic. They deal damage around the player every second with a 59% damage rate lasting for 10 seconds. That adds up to a massive 590% total damage continuously around the player. This is the kind of damage that's both AoE and sustained, making it extremely effective when you're surrounded by large groups of enemies. And Warrior's mid-range cooldown skills aren't weak either. Heavy Strike deals 379% damage while also providing 95% healing, while Shield Wall delivers a total of 378% damage across 7 consecutive hits. The combination of high damage and excellent survivability makes Warrior one of the most well-rounded classes in the game. It can deal serious damage while also being much harder to kill than the more fragile DPS classes. So, if you're the type of player who likes jumping straight into the middle of a crowd and tearing through everything around you, Warrior is definitely a class worth considering. And finally, at the top of the ranking, the strongest class in terms of burst damage across all 5 classes is none other than Assassin. This class almost completely dominates the others when it comes to damage rate coefficients. First, we have to talk about Regicide, the 21-second ultimate, with an incredible 779% damage rate delivered in a single hit. That's the highest single hit damage value I found across the entire skill data in the game. One single target attack can almost instantly delete a squishy target. But Assassin isn't only strong when it comes to single target damage. Its other 21-second skill, Death Dance, throws a total of 30 knives over 5 seconds, with each knife dealing 26% damage, adding up to a massive 780% total AoE damage. That's almost identical to Regicide's damage, except it's spread across multiple targets. What's even more impressive is that even Assassin's faster cooldown skills, sitting at the 4.3 second cooldown mark, can already deal damage comparable to the ultimates of other classes. Dismember deals 256% damage across 4 slashes, while Bladed Dance reaches 255% damage across 5 consecutive hits over 3 seconds. So you can see why Assassin takes the #1 spot. When it comes to pure damage output, there really isn't a major weakness. Whether you're talking about fast combos or ultimate burst, Assassin consistently sits at the very top. So to wrap everything up, if you're wondering which class you should build as a damage carry, my priority order would be Assassin first, because both its burst and sustained damage are outstanding. Next would be Warrior, if you want to deal high damage while also having excellent survivability. Then comes Mage, if you prefer a playstyle focused on consistently spreading AoE damage over time. After that, Archer, if you're willing to invest heavily into attack speed and a basic attack-focused build. And finally, Priest. With Priest, you should clearly understand from the beginning that its main role is support, rather than expecting it to carry the team's damage. That's my complete analysis based on the actual damage rate values of the skills in the game. Hopefully this gives you a clearer picture before you decide which class to invest your time into in WoW Adventure. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to support the channel, and I'll see you again in the next WoW Adventure analysis.